It's comedian Gary Valentine. He's going to be live at the Paddock at PBKC on Friday. Tickets start at $20. You've been here so many times to the Palm Beaches. This has to feel like a second home almost.
Oh, it certainly does. I mean, I've been coming there since I started late '80s, early '90s. My parents had a condo in Delray Beach, so I would frequent that place all the time. And I wasn't able to get enough work in the New York area, tri-state area, so I'd work 3 months up here and then drive down, work 3 months in Florida because there was plenty of work down there, and then do the same thing, just keep repeating. So yeah, I love Florida. I love South Florida.
You've been on, I used to do a radio show and you used to be on that show all the time when you're at another venue. But it's always kind of interesting to me how you get introduced. Like, are you from Chelsea Lately? Are you from Kevin Can Wait? Are you from the King of Queens? Do you find it interesting what shows people gravitate to and pick when they introduce you?
Well, I mean, most recently was Kevin Can Wait, but I think I'm best known for King of Queens. So most people know me from that, and the movies Mall Cop and different Here Comes the Boom and other things. But I think I'm best known for definitely King of Queens.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but either none of them bother me.
When I watch sitcoms now from when I was growing up, I'm like, I like that. Do they change for you too, or do you think like everything's kind of static and it's the same?
You mean as far as creatively?
Not creatively. I think just like when I was a kid, I obviously had different tastes than I do now, and it's interesting to go back and watch something like Mary Tyler Moore. I could watch any rerun from that ever, and it's always funny to me. But then I'll go back and watch another show, maybe from the '80s, and I'm like, oh, I found that fun. Like it's weird. Do you find that as well?
Yeah, but you know what? I was going to mention Mary Tyler Moore because I used to watch that. I used to watch Cheers, All in the Family, all those shows from the 70s and 80s. And those shows hold up. I mean, they're still funny. There's some things that obviously you can't say anymore or do or whatever, but the humor definitely holds up, I think, on most of them. Some of them, you go back and you go, not so funny today.
Right. I think the cell phone ruins a lot of the situational comedy situations. I think it makes it like, well, why don't you just call them and clarify?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. And kids today, they don't even know what a Yellow Pages was, or
That's right.
yeah, they have everything right in front of them. That look up and how would you not know that? Just Google it.
So, what is your show about?
Basically everyday things. I've been married for 10 years. Like I mentioned, my wife's Filipino, so there's a lot of material there from someone that grew up in the Philippines but has been living here for 30 years. So I talk a lot about that. I talk a lot about some sports, things that interest me. I'm a golfer. I also love Florida for that, so it's great. And I talk about Publix too. The supermarket. I just love the fact that you can, if you make it out of the nursing home, you can get a job there, in the deli counter.
You're not wrong.
No, I'm not.
It's been a big year for loss of comedy legends, especially from the Mary Tyler Moore show we were talking about earlier, Betty White, Bob Saget. What does that feel like as a comedian? Because these have to be some of your biggest heroes, like Gavin, for example.
Well, Gavin McLeod, I assume you're talking about. Yeah, he was just a gem. He played my dad on the King of Queens. And just to be around him and the stories that he had, along with Jerry Stiller, how they would go back and forth, and I would just sit there and, be a fly in the room. But he's just a sweet man. He was like my second father, as Jerry was my second father. And my first father was my first father. Jerry was my second father, and Gavin was my third father. It was 2.5, 2.5. But yeah, just sweet men, and I miss them both dearly. And yeah, very sad with Bob Saget passing. He was a really, really sweet guy too. Most comedians are good guys. They have a dark side, and but we view life in a different way. And even a funeral is funny for us,
Absolutely.
In the right context,
Of course.
Yeah.
I was doing my research, and what I usually do for when I'm about to interview somebody is go on social media and see what they posted, so what's going on with them. And you seem to have an aversion to posting.
Well, you know what? I'm really staying away from social media right now. I've been doing it for a while,
Yeah.
and I just felt myself getting bitter about things. You know, it was a lot of drama on Twitter. So I was more into Instagram, a little bit into Facebook, but I'm chilling out now. I'm just taking a vacay from social
I
media.
wish I could.
Yeah,
I
you know
really
what?
do.
It's totally tough. It's addicting. My wife's on a lot. She'll update me with things, but I don't know. I felt like it was bringing me down a little bit, and
Yeah.
I didn't want that. I like
It's like
to.
there's no filter. Like everybody just, you wouldn't say some of these things to me in person, but you'll hide behind your keyboard and write whatever you think. And it's a little like, why are you being so rude? Kind of a
Yeah,
thing.
everyone's
I
got
did
the
see
beer
you.
muscles.
Yes. I saw that you did make a TikTok. That was pretty funny. Was
Yeah,
it?
I've done a couple of them with my brother and with a few friends, but you know, I don't know. I enjoy them, and that I'll get back to too. I took a break from that too, but it's basically just reading and seeing everything on there, not even pertaining to me, but just in the news in general and all this stuff. I just felt it was clogging up my head, and I wanted to keep it clear to kind of write new material.
Have you ever been to the Kennel Club before?
I have not. Um,
Yeah,
I know it's right across the street from the airport.
it is. It's very convenient for you.
In
It's
fact, I think I'll
interesting
ask
that
the pilot to drop me off before we get to the.
parachute.
I have not been to the Kennel Club. No, I know
They just started
things that.
comedy shows there, and it's very interesting how they do it because it's the Paddock restaurant, and there used to be dog racing, so you'll see a dog track, but they don't do that anymore. But there's a lot of gambling inside, and it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of great food in that restaurant too. So you're going to be there on Friday. Tickets are $20. Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it.
Oh, you got it. Thanks, buddy.